video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 parts of the feasibility stage for performing rainwater harvesting optimization calculations as described in the book Essential Rainwater Harvesting. All 3 parts are both separate but also interconnected iterative exercises. So an iterative process is also called goal seeking and basically requires you to seek an input for a given output. Not only do you need to goal seek an output within each part of the feasibility stage, but you may also end up iterating several times around all 3 parts. And this is why attempting to perform these calculations by hand is so impractical. High level, here's what's happening in each part. You'll start with the part 1 step-by-step processes. Here, you'll define your supply and demand at average rainfall conditions and iterate until you have a supply to demand ratio that is greater than 1. What we're saying is that you can't use more rainwater than you can collect and store. Once you satisfy this condition, you can move on to part 2 to optimize your storage. So basically, again, optimize meaning finding the smallest possible storage that meets your performance goals, as well as the catchment area and the demands you defined in the first part. Again, you'll follow the step-by-step process and iterate around until you have an acceptable design for your needs and your budget. You'll go on to part 3 and evaluate the system that you designed in part 2, but this time in the low rainfall conditions. This is also called a stress test. Make sure your system is robust enough to meet your minimum operating goal and make changes if necessary. You'll iterate here until you have an acceptable design for your needs and your budget. And if you cannot find an acceptable design, you might be going back to square one and part 1. You'll continue iterating within each part and from part to part until you have an acceptable design. That means you'll have your catchment area, you'll know your ideal storage capacity, you'll have rainwater demand volumes, and you'll be ready to move on with your more comprehensive planning, including your site layout, Module 3, and the detailed design of your collection, Module 5, storage and pumps, Module 6, and any other components. Really important is to note that whenever iterating, the critical order of design parameters is 1, to always reduce or optimize your demand volumes. Then 2, increase or optimize your roof area. And 3, optimize tank volumes. So always start with critically evaluating and or redesigning your water usage. Once you've done that, only then evaluate your ability to increase your roof. And lastly, increase your storage volume only if you can't do the other 2. That's the high-level process. In an upcoming lesson, we're going to go through an example where we talk about each part and each step in detail.